Hello and welcome to Beyond Common Business Secrets. I'm your host, Tracey Watts Cirino. I'm so excited that you are here. So, today we are going to talk about why you're not getting enough clients, the clarity problem most business owners overlook. So, my friend, have you ever had one of those moments where you look at your business and you think, oh, why am I not getting enough clients? Because you already know that you're doing all the things, right? You're posting, you're showing up, you may even be networking, you're creating content, you're talking about your offers. You have a website, you've invested in branding. Maybe you've even paid for marketing. Maybe you've hired somebody to help you with your social media and you have that being posted for you now. And yet, you're still looking at your bank balance, you're still looking at your calendar thinking, where are all the clients that support all this, extra I've been doing? So, if that sounds familiar, I want you to stay with me for this episode because, my friend, you are not alone. Because I want to talk to you about a problem that I see so many business owners, and honestly, it's something I continually look at in my own business too. Like in all of my businesses. And that is clarity. Yes, I am serious. That is clarity. Look at how clear you're being. And I don't mean it in the sense that it's like not because Um, I think you aren't smart enough because, my friend, I know you're super intelligent. It's not because you're not working hard enough, because hard work is never going to be a replacement for clarity. It's just never going to replace it. And it's not because you need another marketing strategy. It's more like this, like it's certainly not because you need to become someone else entirely online. And if I sat back and listened to what every, guru's messages, and I would literally be in a state of thinking I needed to fix myself and become someone totally different. But that is not, I repeat, that is not what I'm proposing here. So what I'm saying is that your message isn't clear enough for the right person. So, for that right person, that ideal client, to recognize that you are the answer to the problem that they are trying to solve. Like sometimes people are problem aware only in their head. Like they're like running around all day thinking about the problem that they have, but they haven't shared it out loud yet. So they are literally waiting for someone else to articulate it to them. And other people are telling everyone about their problem, but they haven't even begun to look into finding a solution. They're just in this newer phase that is like problem aware. So the thing is that when we look at it through this lens, it's like, okay, no matter what you do in business, your message needs to be clear enough that the right person, those ideal clients, that they recognize that like that you are the answer to the problem they are trying to solve. And when that happens, then, you know, then that's when you want to put some muscle, even some money behind your marketing message. But when it's still in this state of your message isn't clear enough for the right person to recognize you, and they have no awareness of the fact that you're the answer to the problem that they're already trying to solve. Like when that happens, you can spend a tremendous amount of time and money marketing a business that people still don't understand. And I was guilty of this so many times, even in like starting my third business where I had made these similar mistakes before. I did it again in a new and bigger way. It was even like dumber, the amount of money that I spent when it wasn't clear yet. So this is not coming from a place of judgment. It's coming from a place of, friend, let me take you by the hand and help you and show you where you want to get this clarity piece right first, because it serves as the foundation to everything else. So today we're going to talk about why you may not be getting enough clients, and like that could be very valid, and specifically how to know when your message is actually getting in the way. Like sometimes it is just a simple little tweak, right? Other times it's something bigger, but this is going to give you that foundation. So like I want to start with something that I see all the time. So I have business owners that will come up to me and say, okay, I am posting, I'm putting myself out there, but nobody is reaching out. Or people will come up and say, hey, I've been following your simple content strategy, and people tell me that they love my content, but I'm not getting, any clients from it. Or I hear this one a lot, and I know we've talked about this before. I know I'm good at what I do. I know I get results for my clients. So why isn't that translating into more clients, more sales? Like, why is there like a gap, a disconnect here? And you might be surprised. My first instinct isn't, let's create more content, let's do more marketing. That's like never my first instinct. My first instinct is always, okay, let's slow down. Like let's slow down and look at what your product is. What is the product you're selling? What's the service you're selling? What's the solution that you're selling? I like to look at that first. And then this surprises everyone. This surprises like all of my new clients all the time. Then the next thing that I ask you is, do you believe in it? Do you believe in it? And most people are like, absolutely. They get so passionate. They start like speaking from the heart, telling me every single thing that they want you to know about this beautiful service that solves this amazing problem, for like this overwhelming problem. And then at the end, this is like this amazing solution that they've delivered. And it makes them feel so good. And then they're so connected to their clients. And it's such a beautiful thing. And I love when that happens. And then other times I'll get people that are like, no, I'm only doing it because of the money. I don't even like this anymore. Oh my goodness, I didn't even know that. So sometimes it's giving you permission to look at it, right? So I strongly encourage you to ask yourself, like, do I like this? Like, does it matter to me? Am I passionate about it? And do I believe in it? Like, those seem like things that like, oh, they're quieter, so you like leave them under the surface. But I'm like, if your soul is trying to tell you something, it might be whispering, and you want to just bring it into the light. So we slow down, and like after we answer those questions, right? Like, do you believe in it? Do you like it? Like, do you want to be selling this? That brings like a tremendous amount of clarity. That reveals so much. And then we will work together on solving that. Or for people that don't have a coach to help them sort through this, this is like sometimes like the dark night of the soul that you might have to go through. But once that is clear, that we love what we do, we know it's powerful, we know it's helpful, we know people need it. And when they are at like it's like the afterglow, the basking in what it's like after they work with you, then yes, like that's so exciting. That like that's the thing. We slow down and we look at the message. Because here's what I've learned. You can have a really great offer and still have a confusing message. Like you could have something that is pure gold that, wow, if the world knew about this, it'd be lit on fire. You'd have like 3 million, you'd have 3 million views tomorrow or more. And it's like if it's explained in that way because like everybody needs this. But sometimes it's like not enough to just have a great offer because if you have a great offer and your message is still confusing, you have this like tangle, right? It's like all tangled. So I've also learned from doing this as long as I have, I've also learned that you can be incredibly talented and still have a message that doesn't immediately connect, right? Sometimes it just doesn't. You can have years of experience and still describe what you do in a way that makes people work too hard to figure out whether you're actually the person they need. And my friend, that's a very expensive problem, right? That is a very expensive problem to have because you're leaving money on the table every day, right? You're doing all the work, you're showing up on social, you're having conversations, you're putting yourself out there, but not being the person that people can see as, oh yeah, I need to work with this person. That's a really expensive problem. So it's when your messaging isn't clear, everything downstream is harder. So it's like you feel like creating content, going to a networking event, even like getting on a call with the referral, like everything is like pushing a boulder up like pushing a boulder up the side of a mountain. Like everything is harder. So if everything is harder, that's like creates such exhaustion. So your content becomes harder to create. Your website it's harder to write the copy. Your social media becomes harder to plan. Your sales conversations become longer and you drag them out. And maybe you don't even call people back that maybe showed interest because you're like, ugh, right? It happens. So overall, your offers become harder to explain. And your potential client has had to do too much work, too much heavy lifting on their own to figure this out. They're like, scratching their head. Is this for me? Or wait, what did she say? Huh? And when people have to work that hard to understand something, they usually just move on. Or like it doesn't even open, it's like it doesn't open the gate to them even considering you, right? It's not that it just never opened the gate, so they didn't even understand really what you did. So I want you to know, my friend, it's not because you're not valuable, it's because you didn't recognize the value like quickly enough. Like, right? It's like because you didn't say it in a way that made it easy for them to recognize the value and see it quickly so that they're like, oh, wow, I literally just did a Google search for this. Like, I didn't even know there was somebody that could solve my problem. Oh my goodness, thank you. Right? So, the question I want you to ask yourself is if somebody who is a perfect client, she's your ideal client, if she like, and I like to name, like I have my clients like name their ideal client, like my ideal client's name is Sally, right? So Sally, like I give her a name, she has a hairstyle, she has clothes, she's on trend, she has a job. Like we have gone full in to creating an entire profile for her because I love to speak directly to Sally. Now, this is part of like my fun, like the fun of my imagination and curiosity, plus the fact that I loved to play with Barbie dolls when I was a kid. So, like, do what makes you enjoy it. You don't have to take it this far, but a simple way is just think about it, like ask yourself this question. If somebody who is perfect, who's like that perfect ideal client for you, if if she landed on your website, looked at your Instagram profile, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, if she heard you speak on like somebody else's podcast, if you were a guest on someone's podcast, or she saw one of your posts, or maybe she met you at a party, would she immediately understand three things? Just three. So, would she understand who you help, what problem you solve, and what makes you and your solution absolutely valuable to her? So, this is not your title, right? This is not what your title is, right? So, not every certification that you've earned, not everything you've ever done, not like your whole bio, all your accolades, not every service that you could possibly provide under your umbrella of all the amazing services you do. Not all of that. Like that's like way too much. I'm talking about the actual problem that you solve. So the problem that you solve, because if that's super clear when your ideal client goes on your website, social, meets you, when that's clear, then everything's easier because, friend, your client is not waking up thinking about your business ever. Even clients that are like my most high level clients that pay me tens of thousands of dollars to do high level work for them, they do not wake up and think about my business in any way, shape, or form. They never would. That's not how it works. They wake up thinking about their problem. That's it. And if I can solve their problem, do it quickly, efficiently, and with so much clarity that they're like, yes, that's who I need to work with. That's how that real trusting relationship begins. Because, it's like when you're a kid and your mom tells you, um, honey, don't worry what everybody else thinks. Like, don't worry about if people are talking about you or what people think because they're too busy thinking of themselves, right? So this is true for your clients as well. It's the same, we've been telling kids and teenagers this forever. Like, people have their own stuff on their mind, their own problems, their own challenges. They are not waking up thinking about you. So we don't have to spend time in that area, right? We have enough things to think about. The only thing we need to think about is being so crystal clear on the problem that we solve that our ideal client, in my case, Sally, knows, yes, oh my goodness, I need to hire Tracey because this is exactly what I need, right? So this is also where I think many of us, this is including me, like we can get caught up. So this happens so often. So we know our business so well, right? We know everything we can do, like this extensive menu of services and like offers. We know all the ways we can help. We know our like expertise. We have this vast catalog of experience and things that have worked for other clients that we've worked with. We know our process. We know all the things that make us different. And because we know all of it, and we are this expert, we want to tell people all of it because if you just knew all of it, your life would be so much better and be so amazing, right? Like we just want to help serve and serve the world and take care of them in such a deep, meaningful way that, like, oh, we're just trying to give it all to them. But clarity doesn't come from saying more and saying everything all at once. It could be like it's like a fire hose. It's like running someone over, right? Like in a cartoon, like you run them over. Well, we're humans here. We don't pop back up as fast as the cartoon. So clarity often comes from refinement, from knowing, what actually matters most for the stage of where my client is right now, right? Because I, this is true for most business owners and most clients that I work with. You know, we have clients that are in all different levels of their problem that are working with us, right? We have, like, for me, like, I have some in high level mentorships that we're working one to one all the time. Or I have other clients that I meet with once a quarter and we do a VIP day and we knock out a ton of stuff. Then I have other clients that are, newer and they're just in one of my done, like one of my courses that they can just go online and do themselves anytime. They can do it at midnight. They can do whatever. Um, and other people on the highest levels hire us for the done for you services. So the thing is that no matter what your industry, you have people in different levels. And that is where this clarity, it's going to come from knowing what matters most and knowing where your clients are at. So I'd like to make this distinction here that is really important, right? It's really important to me that this drives it home for you. So I don't believe the answer is always to niche down. I don't believe that. I really don't believe in niching because I don't like to be put in a box personally. I have a vast array of interests. I have businesses and income streams that are in various industry. And I know I've talked about this before, and I will probably keep talking about it because I think there's a huge misunderstanding around this. So I don't believe you have to put yourself in a tiny little box and say, "Oh, this is the only person I will ever serve and this is my niche." I don't really resonate with that. It never felt good to me. I think when I first started in my online business, that I spent probably a year of frustration. I spent so much time, money, and energy around trying to solve this, and it just frustrated me and pissed me off and really didn't get me anywhere. That's the God's honest truth. So, what I believe in being specific, being as specific as possible. And that's a tongue twister. So, yeah, hopefully you can say that even clearer and more specifically than I can. So, and what I mean by specific is very different from niche, right? That like quote unquote niche, because when you are specific, you make it easy for someone to say, "That's me. That's exactly what I've been looking for." That's the moment that we're looking for. It's not, "Wow, oh, she's in that niche where she works with women." Like, great. Do you get it? Like, so people will tell you to niche down and like pick this specific thing. Um, it's the moment where it shifts for your potential client where they say, "Oh, she gets me. She must be in my head. That's me. That's exactly what I was looking for." The moment we get there through being specific, not the niching thing where it's like, "Wow, yay, she works with women," or "She helps entrepreneurs," or "She helps people become more successful." Like, those things are all true, but they're not like making light bulbs go off. They're not creating an emotional connection to where your client's like, "Oh, I must hire you for that. Like, that's exactly what I've been looking for." That like doesn't happen there. So I've never resonated with that language. Um, and it's also, this is where you might realize that these niches aren't specific enough to create this sort of recognition of like, "Wow, they're seeing it." They're sort of seeing you mirror their problem back to them in a way that recognition for them is going to sound like, "Oh my gosh, that's exactly the problem I'm having. Wow, you said it better than I could." That is when somebody recognizes their problem in your message, you've created an opening. And I think we did a podcast episode about this a while back that was like where you're the expert, that you're like in the jar. So it's almost like you're in the jar with your expertise and all this stuff. And they don't know what's going on in the jar. They just see you talking from inside the jar. So once you hit that moment where they have that recognition and it sounds like, oh my gosh, that's exactly the problem I've been having. Can you help me? Now they can listen. Now they can explore. Now they can get to know you. And now they can begin to trust. And then once you have that trust thread sort of open, now they can take the next step. And honestly, for some clients, they want to go right into a higher level offer. So I always say to have those available. But some people need to go through, steps in a process. And so they are going to start with a lower priced item, like one of my books. So think about your business in this way. It's like, sometimes people want to test you out. They trust you, but they're not 100% that you totally get it. So they'll start with something lower cost. And you want to have those available in sort of your menu of things that you offer. So you want to make it so easy for them to take the next step, no matter where they are in wanting the problem solved. So the clearer you are about the different opportunities that are available to work with you, the better it is. It's like the better it gets, the better it gets. Like, yay, we just want more of this. That's how my most ideal clients find me. And I love that, right? Like one person starts at a high cost offer, but then refers a friend into, oh, did you have you read Tracy's book? Or here's this digital tool, this asset that she has available that you can download it and create this asset in your business. I have a lot of digital tools like that that are more of the lower cost offers. So that you want to just make sure you have those available in your business. And now let's talk about signs that your message might actually be the reason you're not getting enough clients, right? Because it could be like the number one thing is that you are constantly over explaining what you do. So if you feel like you need 5 minutes to answer the question, so what do you do? Like when people say that, that's information. That's information. If every sales conversation starts with you explaining your business from the beginning, that that sort of information, if people regularly say, I don't really understand what you do, that's information. Like, consider this feedback. This is like good information. So I want you to look at it through the lens where you're not like, it's with no judgment. Just take this as good information, good feedback that you're like, okay, I I don't mean this as a criticism. I don't want you to shame yourself, blame yourself. I want you to look at it through like a little detective getting curious. I mean, look at it as a clue. It's a clue. So it's a clue because if you have to explain everything before somebody understands the value of your message, like your message may be doing like, it's like not doing enough of the work for you. So, when I say something like, when someone's like, what do you do? I'm like, I translate your expertise that you have as this beautiful business owner into language that your ideal buyers want to buy from you. So that's like simple, clean, right? And I back to when I was in the salon, and I have a lot of salon owner clients and I still do a lot of work in that space. And it's so interesting because it's like I would say, I help you look and feel your best. Like I make your cut and color work synergistically together to help you feel more youthful. Like I would say that. I would never be like, oh, I just color some hair. Like that's like everybody would say that. And it's funny, this brings up an interesting point. Um, as we segue into number two, I'm going to tell you a story. So the other thing that you might be looking at is people like your content, but they don't know what to do next. So you may get comments, you get likes, people tell you, oh, I love this, or that's such a powerful quote, or you always say exactly what I needed to hear. That's so good. Or, oh, it's interesting. And yet, you're not getting more clients on your books. Nobody is inquiring about your offers. Nobody is like asking, like, how do I work with you? Right? When you're showing up on social, when you're in person, someone introduces you at a party. Like, if it's like, if this doesn't automatically, it doesn't automatically mean that your content or your message is bad. It just might mean there's a gap between the connection that you're creating for your ideal client and what leads to an actual sales conversion. So people may like you, but they might even trust you on some level, but they're not convinced that you're the right person to solve their problem. They may even believe that you're knowledgeable, but do they understand the problem you solve? They're asking, do you, this expert, really understand me? Could you really be the person that helps me solve my problem? No. Like it's that they need to absolutely believe that you're the person that can solve their problem. And that's the funny thing. So this is the story I want to tell you. I remember years ago, um, I was in the salon space for a very long time. And there was a gentleman that worked at a neighboring salon. So, yes, you could say we were competitors, but we also both were like in the hair show circuit, like teaching and presenting on stage and, doing stage work. So, I really found it to be interesting that he loved to go to parties and almost like he would always run into one of my clients and start a conversation. And it would be really interesting because he would say something about being like being cheaper than me at color and services. And it's funny because not one of those clients that he ever tried to like poach ever took him up on it because my clients never came to me for that. Right? I never was competing on price. If anything, I was probably the most expensive in the area, right? Like, not everybody can say that they left an industry at the top of, like, I was charging $500 for haircuts. Like, that's when I was like, it's time for me to do something else. Um, I've grown as much as I can in this industry when it comes to personally doing services. Now I get to help people in, a different way with my coaching and mentoring services. But I always found it to be so funny. It's like you're missing the point. So do you want to be known for the discounts and that's what you're going after? That's great, but own that category if that's what you're doing. But you are never going to poach a client from me by that being the angle that you use. So you want to be really clear and unapologetic because I always looked at it like a healthy competition, like more power to you. I can't wait to see how this goes. Right. And he was incredibly talented and so good at it, but he was not ever like the person that was totally booked with referrals and repeats because he was not positioning himself as a true expert. He was trying to compete on pricing. And that is not going to ever attract the type of like high-end client that I really help my clients work towards getting. So that is just like there's such a gap between the connection, right? And this is why the story is perfect because there was such a gap between the connection and how it, you know, and how it was converted into actual sales, like that conversion, because like he wasn't getting it. So you want it to be so clear about what the next step is, right? So number three is that I see this happening all the time. And it can kind of be a big deal, but I see people constantly changing your offer. So this one's a big one. So I know that this one personally, because I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. I work with a lot of creative entrepreneurs and people in creative industries, and myself included. We have ideas. I see opportunities everywhere. I think about maybe I should package it this way. Maybe I should call it this. Maybe I should create this offer. Oh, wow. Okay. Maybe people would want this instead. Like, this is something that might happen to you. And sometimes that's exactly the right move. Sometimes that's exactly the right move, but sometimes we're changing the offer because we're trying to solve a messaging problem with a product problem. So, what I mean by that is, you might want to create a new offer. You might really want to do something else instead. You might want all of that. But I strongly urge you to pause because those are not the same thing. Messaging problem is very different than your product problem. So I want you to be clear on which problem you're solving. Before you create another offer at all, you want to ask yourself, does my ideal client actually understand the value of the offer I already have? Because sometimes the offer is amazing. Like, I have had a lot of clients over the years, especially um, my clients that are coaches and authors. Those clients, when I've helped them like create courses, they have a compelling, really credible offer, but their marketing and messaging is so off. So it's so often not that we have to create anything new, it's the matter of repositioning it, repackaging it. It's like just refining it, right? This is another, it's funny how there's so much overlap in what I do, but it's like so much of the best artistic creations were not about exactly how much hair you leave on the floor. It's what's left, like what's on the floor. It's like what's left on the head. That's what creates the beautiful look, right? It's like when you're hanging a beautiful painting on the wall, what is the refinement of what's left, right? Not the paint that splashed on the floor. So here's the thing. You need to be clear on, is it a messaging problem or a product problem? So I strongly urge you, if you haven't already, write this one down. Does my ideal client actually understand the value of the offer I already have? That's a very different question. And that is going to give you a powerful answer as to what direction you need to go to fix the problem that you're having. So, then number four is your marketing keeps changing because you don't know what to say. And what I mean by that is that this is another one I see constantly. And I'm all about talking about many different things, but through the lens of resonance, right? Like, I talk about planning healthy meals for my kids. I talk about taking care of the dogs. I talk about a freedom lifestyle business. I talk about my love of business and how business is the sort of fast track to personal growth and development. Like, if you really want to get to know yourself, start a business because you can't hide. All of your dark, shadowy pieces get exposed. So I talk about this. I talk about helping experts get that expert language translated into money messaging language that makes your ideal clients want to buy immediately. I speak on stage about female empowerment. I write books about it. So I do a lot of things. And that is not said in any way to brag. That's said in the way that, like, I get that so many of us creative entrepreneurs, we're multifaceted. We have lots of interests, and I will never, ever allow anyone to shame me for that again. So I encourage you not to allow anyone to shame you for that. Go with your being your best self and put out there what's important to you, but with resonance too. Like, Monday, you're talking about one thing, but you completely go over to Wednesday, something completely different that's not relevant and doesn't make sense. what I'm saying is that I might talk about a lot of stuff, but the essence of who I am, my core values, the core of how I'm so heart-centered and deeply passionate about helping my clients create a business that generates the revenue that gives them the freedom to live a life that they design by choice. That it's not something that is left to autopilot. They aren't blindly going at it like a sheep just because they're like settling into circumstance. They're making conscious decisions. This resonance is clear in everything I do: how I parent, how I teach, how I coach, how I write, how I speak, how I podcast, how I show up as a guest. I'm saying that you need to make sure you're not hopping and skipping all over to where you're just making someone feel like they're in a pinball machine as they're watching you. And next week you discover this whole new marketing strategy and suddenly you're talking about something else that is exactly the opposite of what you talked about last week. That is signaling to everybody that you're very exhausted. And when you're exhausted and don't have clarity, you're not going to be the ideal choice of a person that can help them solve their problem with clarity and conviction, right? So I don't necessarily think that you need to have more content ideas if that's where you are. You need to clarify your message in a way that makes it have a clear foundation. You can talk about a lot of different things that you're interested in if you're genuinely passionate about it, but there needs to be resonance that it still feels like you. And that's what's going to make people compelled and magnetically drawn to work for you, like to work with you or for you when you're hiring your team. It's like that potency of who you are is what makes people magnetically drawn to you. Like that's like where people love to work with me because I initiate them into action. Like I'm often that loving kick in the pants, right? It's like you might know what you have to do, but you need someone like me to help alongside of you to mentor you every step of the way so it actually gets done, right? Because it's a very different set of skills to knowing and doing. So I leave you with this, like, because this can get really fuzzy when you're all over the place. But once you have that clear message foundation, once you have that and you're really clear on, you know what you stand for, you know who you help, you're very clear on the problem you solve. I'm very clear, like for me, I'm very clear on the problem I solve, and I may create lots of different products and services that fit with my clients in different ways, but the problem I solve is very clear, right? I just might create different offers. So the transformation you like when you're clear on the transformation you create and the language that connects all of it, your content gets easier, your marketing gets easier, the sales get easier. And because you're no longer reinventing your message like every Monday morning when you're like, "Oh, what should I post?" when you sit down to create something, you're much more clear on where your body of work is coming from. And this is the part I just really want to drive home even more. I really want you to hear that your message does not have to be perfect. We are not going for that. Mine is not. I am constantly refining it, just like fine tuning. I'm constantly listening to clients and even like the world, like what's needed. And I listen to myself often. I feel like I get these like intuitive downloaded hits like, oh, this is really something new that I want to create. So I start to notice the questions that people are asking me. I pay attention to the words that people use. I'm looking at what's resonating and where people like might back away. Like maybe that's too much. Maybe it's too soon, too early. So I'm not looking at what's not right or, fixing myself. I'm looking at clear, like, because if you're clear and then you realize that something isn't the way you decided. Like, so I can look back on my life and there have been so many times I believed something with absolute conviction and it served me for a time, right? It served me for a time. But then I learned, I grew, I expanded. I became more knowledgeable. I got more wisdom in that area, in a different area. And maybe my view and my belief around this changed. But I don't look at it like I went backwards. I like look at it as evolution. So I'm saying not to skip around like that, right? It's allow yourself the grace to expand and have more growth, right? That is where the clarity gets stronger as you listen, right? I do not recommend listening to feedback from everyone because there are tons of people out there that are not your ideal client that have no idea what they're talking about. And we cannot let them into our heart and mind. Their feedback doesn't matter. Sorry. Sorry, I'm not sorry. Guard your heart, protect yourself. Listen to the feedback that genuinely resonates with what you're trying to do and will genuinely help you get better at serving your clients and solving their problems. Clarity gets stronger and stronger as you listen to the right people, the right things. So that's definitely one of the reasons I'm so passionate about this work that I do, because I've been doing it for a long time. And I still believe there is always another layer of clarity. There's always another layer available of how I can deliver it where it lands even clearer, even cleaner for my clients. So I will continue to refine my message. I will continue to practice my next stage presentation. Like it needs to continually evolve. And it doesn't mean that you failed because when you look back, you're speaking about your offer different. It means you're evolving. It means you're expanding. It means you're building something of value. Your business evolves, your clients evolve, your offers evolve, your experience expands, it elevates, and your message gets to evolve and elevate with you. So, here's the clarity test I want you to use. Take your business and answer these 5 questions. Are you ready? For those of you that are able to, pause this video, get a piece of paper and write these down. For those of you that are driving, save this episode so that you can come back and answer these questions. So, one, you want to answer this question: who do I help? Not everyone, not anyone who needs this, not who's the person you understand. Like, not like everyone that will pay me. Like I've heard that so many times when I'm like, okay, who do you help? They're like, anyone that will pay me. Okay, no, that's not going to help. So who do you help? Ask yourself that question. Who is the person you understand? Who is the person whose problem you know how to solve? Number two, what problem do I solve? Not what you do, not, oh, I'm a business coach or I'm a salon owner, not that. What problem do you solve? The problem. What is happening in your client's life or business that makes them start looking for your help? Number three, what do I help them do, have, achieve, or change? What is different because you exist, right? Number four, why does my approach matter? What do you see differently? What do you believe that others in your industry may not? Right? Like I work with clients all the time that hire me for marketing, and I view marketing your business and messaging so differently. So it's like, what's your perspective? What's your perspective? And number five, what do I want the right person, that right ideal client, what do I want them to do next? Like, what's the next step you want them to take? Because clarity isn't just about understanding. Clarity creates movement, right? It initiates your clients into action. And this is what we want, right? I say this all the time. and I think I've been quoted, I don't know, thousands of times with saying this, is that you, clarity creates this movement. You do not have a business unless you have a sale, right? You just have a logo, right? So you need a sale. If your ideal client understands your message but doesn't know what to do next, you've stopped one step too short. They need to take action, right? It's like I'll often teach my author and coaching, my clients that are coaches and authors, I will teach them like you need to ask them to buy the book. Like they need to take action to buy your book, right? So you don't want to stop short. You want to make sure that you're leading your clients into action. And then we'll tie this all back to the original question. Why aren't you getting enough clients? Right? Why aren't you getting enough clients? So maybe you do need more visibility. Maybe you need more traffic. Maybe you need a better sales process. Maybe you need more connections that lead to more sales conversions. There's a lot of reasons a business can struggle to attract clients. But before you spend another dollar on ads and marketing, before you create another 100 pieces of content, before you completely redesign your website, before you change your offer yet again, I want you to look at your message underneath all of it. Because if the message isn't clear, more people seeing it doesn't necessarily solve the problem at all, right? It can actually amplify the confusion and make your problem bigger. So I don't want that for you. That is, we don't want that for you. I want your marketing to make it easier for the right people to recognize themselves in your message, to think that's my problem. Then, wow, she understands it. Then, wow, she has a solution for me. Finally, I need to talk to her immediately. I want to work with her. That's the journey, right? Those are the light bulb moments that you want going off in your client's mind. And you need to craft a message that delivers that. So that's exactly why I created something very new, very special for you. It's called the Messaging Clarity Starter Kit. So I created it because I know how overwhelming it can be to sit down and try to figure out all of this from scratch, right? Sometimes it's just like, okay, great, Tracey, you highlighted this problem, but now what? So, what do I say? How do I describe what I do? What's my value? What should my website headline say? How should I introduce myself? What do I actually say on social media? Oh, someone just asked me to go on their podcast. They want to know how to introduce me. What should I have them say? How do I make all of this sound like the same business and sound like me, like the actual me that I know my clients love to work with? These might be all the questions that are going on in your mind. And the Messaging Clarity Starter Kit gives you the foundational tools to work through these questions and create a message you can actually use. So it's not a message that sounds good on just the worksheet. It's a message you can take to your website. You can use it for your bio. You can use it to create content. You can use it in your everyday conversations. You can use it on your offer in sales pages. You can use it in your marketing. You can use it on your sales calls. You can use it everywhere that you naturally exist as a human living her life that is also a business owner, right? Because the goal isn't to have a beautiful sentence describing your business. The goal is to become easier to understand, right? You want people to understand you and know what you can do for them every day in your business. So when you're easier to understand, it becomes easier for the right people, those ideal clients, to find you, to recognize themselves in what you're saying, to trust that you understand their problem and you are the person that can solve their problem. So they want to take that next step with you. So before you go and create another post today, I want you to stop and ask yourself one question. If my ideal client saw my marketing today, would they immediately recognize that I solved the problem that they're trying to solve? Like they woke up today trying to solve it? If the answer is yes, beautiful. I'm so proud of you. Keep going. If the answer is maybe, or I'm not sure, that's probably some clarity work to do there. Like that's probably where you need to work on this. And if the answer is no, friend, don't panic. You don't need to blow up your business. You don't need to start over. You don't need to be mean or mad at yourself. You don't need to become somebody else. Seriously, do not do that. You simply need to get clearer, and we will start from where you are because your brilliance is not the problem. You're already the expert. Your message may simply not be carrying your brilliance clearly enough yet. And that's totally fixable. That is what this work is. This is the work that we can do. And honestly, it's work I continue to do in my own business, like on my own business, and with all of my clients in my business. So, because I don't believe clarity is a destination, I believe clarity is a business advantage. We keep refining, we keep growing, we keep expanding. And the clearer you become about the problem you solve, the person you solve it for, and the value you bring, the easier it becomes for the right people to say yes. So I strongly urge you to grab the Clarity Messaging Starter Kit. As always, thank you for spending this time with me. Thanks for being here on Beyond Common Business Secrets. And if you're sitting here listening to this and thinking, okay, Tracey, I hear you. I know I need to get clearer, but I don't know where to start. That's exactly why I created this specifically for you. And that is the Messaging Clarity Starter Kit. I'll put the link in the show notes so you can take a look. And as always, stay beyond amazing, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. And remember, friends, you don't need to say more. You need to make what matters easier for your ideal clients to understand.